Okay, good.
All right, good afternoon and welcome to meeting number 10 of the Baltimore County Administrative Charging Committee. This is March the 1st, 2024, 12 noon. We are in room 118 of the Baltimore County Historic Courthouse, and we're also available by WebEx. First thing we want to do today is just take a roll call. I'll begin with myself, Joan Harris.
Sharon Connect.
Dawn Deshawn Fewer.
And by
Christopher Stewie.
WebEx, we have,
Christopher Stewie.
and I think you're on, are you on mute, Tiff?
Tiffany's muted.
Sorry, I'm using these headphones for the first time. Tiffany Justice.
Great. And so we are all here today. First thing is to approve the minutes from the February 2nd meeting. And can I please have a motion to adopt the minutes?
Motion to adopt the February 2nd, 2024 minutes as presented.
Second.
And all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And that's unanimous. The next thing really is we're going to be we have some items of new business and then we'll be going into closed session. So the first new business, Henry's got some updates for us.
Sure. Just wanted to fill people in on some legislation that's been introduced in Annapolis that would impact the ACC, just so everyone's kept abreast of how your role may change depending on the General Assembly and the governor. The first piece of legislation I wanted to note is one that would create a penalty referred to as summary punishment, essentially. This would be in a scenario for what is deemed a minor offense under the matrix. If the officer and the chief agree to the facts of the case and the discipline that is being offered, the chief can offer said discipline, the officer can take it, and it would not go before the ACC. So that would be your minor offenses. It would not apply to anything serious like use of force. Those would still go before the ACC. There could not be that provision included. Not really super relevant to this group, but there's a proposal to add the year and a day deadline for cases that do not come before the ACC, as well as cases that do come before the ACC. So those are the
Do you have bill numbers for those?
Oh, I do in here. I can find those for everybody because I've been working on those. So the year and a day for non-ACC cases, it would just be to clarify that for things like not wearing a hat in court, for instance, would have to be resolved within a year and a day. It could not be indefinitely investigated and would need to have a resolution. So similar to the process for anything involving a member of the public. And the most significant provision for the ACC is that there is legislation that would have a tolling provision for cases where there's a criminal investigation. So this is in a case where, say that an officer is simultaneously under both criminal and administrative investigation, the year and a day deadline would not apply until essentially the criminal case was either dropped, whether it did not proceed in the first place. So Internal Affairs deems there is no criminal activity and does not refer it, or the case is adjudicated. There's a verdict one way or the other. This would allow the ACC to hear cases that are not in the middle of an investigative process, as very rarely would a criminal case resolve itself within a year and a day of the filing of a complaint. In relation to the ACC, it's small, but it is important for the PAB. There's legislation that would allow the police accountability boards to investigate complaints simultaneously with the Internal Affairs Division. All of those bills have been introduced in both the House and the Senate. They have received their hearings in their respective committees, and I will keep this group updated as to whether or not they are enacted. And I can send over bill numbers as well.
Thank you.
So Henry, under the summary punishment legislation, would that include car crash cases?
It would include, so the way the legislation is worded, it would include any case where the punishment where it falls into the minor offense category.
So a first time.
Yeah, and I'm not as familiar with the car crash cases simply because we haven't done them. This is our first meeting doing them, but my understanding is that yes, it would in the majority of the cases where we're not talking about somebody who is alleging use of force or alleging illegal arrest or alleging it like that. Discourteous conduct would be an example of one that would fall under the minor punishment or minor offense category and would be applicable. believe also preventable accident with no injury would probably fall into that same category. All of these bills, just for the record, would take effect on October 1st of this year. They would not apply to any case where the facts of it kind of started now for the next 7 months. So exactly 7 months from now is when that would take effect if passed and signed into law by the governor.
All right. Okay. Any other updates from you, Henry?
Not anything that I am just trying to recall just through my notes here from this week. Not anything else. And yeah, that is it for the ACC.
Dawn, do we have anything from the PAB?
We haven't met.
Okay.
Our meeting is March 18th.
Yep, 18.
Thank you.
Okay.
And Chief McCullough and
Sheriff.
yeah, sheriff's deputy will be there to present.
All right.
And we are meeting at 11 a.m. instead of noon if anybody's interested in attending online or in person. We
All right.
moved our time up for that date.
There will be also a trial board member appointment as well, just for those of you who are interested.
Sounds like a busy agenda. And then the next thing on our new business is discussion of the car accident opinion drafting. And we now are undertaking minor car crash cases because those that involve a member of the community. Sometimes a crash happens and a civilian is the victim of the crash and the officer's been deemed to have been at fault. And so we are now taking on those cases. And we have, I think I have drafted I've drafted a draft of a potential opinion drafting, and we can tweak them as we go along. Did anybody have any comments about the?
I think it was straightforward.
Yeah, I thought it was fine.
Just to clarify, I think
yeah.
we're not just getting minor car accidents, we're getting car accidents involving members of the public, not just minor ones.
We're getting minor ones, the ones that
But if they get, but there are major, we do get those also. It's not like it's limited to minor ones.
It depends on what they deem as major. Right now, we're getting the minor ones involving a civilian. I mean, sometimes the victim, it's the parked car.
I don't think
Any case involving
any
member
member of the public, major or minor,
Would-
or
would come-
catastrophic.
would come before the.
Yeah, should not just minor ones.
Yeah, it won't be just minor ones. Internal affairs, as they do with any administrative complaint, will handle the ones that do not involve a member of the public, minor or
Right.
major.
Right.
Now, likely most major ones will involve a member of the public. So those would fall under the purview of the ACC. Because again, just for anyone, for posterity's sake, again, any case where there's a member of the public involved, the officer can't be disciplined unless it goes before the ACC.
Okay.
I did have actually, Madam Chair, I'm sorry, one more bill for.
Okay.
Very quickly, there is legislation that's would allow an officer to file a show cause order or request a show cause order from their circuit court if they believe their rights were violated during the investigatory process at any stage prior to a trial board. So that would essentially be, again, in listening to the bill testimony this past week, most of that would be directed towards the department. If there were concerns about how the investigation was followed, the example that was referred to several times in the testimony was if the year and a day had expired. Essentially, that if the department fails to follow that deadline, if there are deadline issues in regards to when an investigation begins, et cetera, they could request a show cause order from the circuit court, which could basically step in and say, why did you not protect the officer's rights in this instance? It did seem, again, from the analysis of the testimony, it does seem somewhat unlikely that would be something where the ACC was accused of violating the rights. It doesn't seem like that's the intent of the bill drafters. It's more of an internal affairs question than it is a ACC question, but that is something which could come up. Again, I don't have any idea whether these bills are going to get beyond this stage right now. The last action listed is bill hearings on this last week. So anyway, I apologize for missing that the first go.
All right, so I think that's it for new business unless someone else has something. All right. Next, we're going to close our session in order to handle the cases.
Motion for the Baltimore County Administrative Charging Committee to meet in closed session to review investigatory files in compliance with 3-3-2807F of the Baltimore County Code and Omar 12.04.09.05 D1.
Have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And it's
Aye.
unanimous. And so at this time, we are moving into closed session.
All right. Okay. Take it away.
And at 5:05, we are back in open session. And the only thing we're going to do is announce, we have to continue a meeting to March the 8th, 2024 at 2 p.m. We're going to be participating by WebEx, and it will be simply a continuation of today's closed session to go through cases. So that'll be the only business that we conduct on March 8th, 2024 at 2 p.m. So at this time, unless anyone has anything else, I would like a motion to adjourn for today.
Motion for the Baltimore County Administrative Charging Committee to adjourn until March 8th, 2024 at 2 p.m., at which time we will meet via WebEx.
Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And it's unanimous. And thank you. We are now closed.
Everybody have a